Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how I made this underwater scene inside Blender. So let's begin. I'm going to be using Blender 5.0, but it can work in the older versions of Blender. I'm going to click on A, X, delete everything, and then click on Shift A, Mesh, and then create a new cube. I want to scale this up to X and Y axes, so I'm going to click on S, Shift Z, so that I exclude the Z axis. Now I'm going to type 10, and now I'm going to click on S, and then Z, and then type 5. So this is going to be the outside of the water, and this is going to be the inside of the water. So I'm going to click on here, right click, vertical split, and I'm going to split my screens over here. I want to go to the rendered view over here. And by the way, I'm going to be using Cycles. And I'm going to click on the left screen and then go inside the shader editor so that I have more flexibility. Now I'm going to go inside the world properties because we need some lighting over here. I'm going to click on color and then click on environment texture. Now you can locate your HDR sky and import it from here. I'm going to be using this one from Polyhaven, but you can download any other HDR sky you want. But this one looks good for this scene. Now I'm going to click on new, create a new material, and then name this water. And one thing I forgot to do is whenever you scale up or scale down your objects in Blender, make sure you go to item. And then if you check this, you can see the scale is messed up. So I'm going to click on Control A and then apply the scale so that the scale stays to 1. Now I'm going to go inside my materials again, click on N to get rid of this menu. If you want to make this look like water, you can expand transmission and then turn this all the way up. I'm also going to click on roughness and then turn this all the way down. Not all the way to 0, but almost all the way down. Something like 0.2 or 0.3 should work. Now I'm going to click on Shift A and then search for noise texture. Place it over here. And then we also need bump. So I'm going to click on Shift A and then create a bump node. Now connect the factor into the height of the bump node and then select the bump node and then connect this over here, normal to normal. And you can also click on distance and then type 1 so that we give it some waves. Now if you need a lot of waves, you can click on scale and then turn this up. Now the outside of the water looks nice, but I can make this more stylized. So I'm going to click on color and then give it a bluish tint. Now, if you go inside, you can see it's like empty. We have no volume. It doesn't feel like water. So let's fix that. So make sure to go inside the cube like this. And now take this material output and drag it down slightly so that we have some space over here. Now I'm going to click on Shift A and then search for principled volume. So I'll select this one and then connect the volume into the volume. So take this and then plug it over here. And now once we do that, everything goes dark. So we're going to turn this down slightly because it's way too strong right now. So I'm going to click on density and then set this to something like 0.5. And I'm also going to click on this anisotropy and then turn this up to like 0.7, for example. Now, this looks very dark and I can actually toggle the overlays off so that we see how it looks. Now we need some lighting to shine through. Now, in order to fix this being too dark, what we can do is allow the lights to shine through the cube because right now it's not shining everything. So I'm going to stay over here. I'm going to go up. And now what we want to do is click on Shift A and then create a light path node. And once you do that, place it on top, somewhere over here. And then take the is camera array and then plug this into the alpha like this. And now the HDR lighting is going to come through this and then light up our underwater scene slightly. What we also want to do is change the color. So I'm going to click on the color and then turn this up slightly and then make this more blue. Something like this should look fine. And now it feels like we're inside water, but we're not entirely there. What we also want to do is create a light and then allow it to shine through and then create like cool gobo effect. So that's pretty easy to do. What we can do is to test the light, we can go back to the solid view. I'm going to select this, toggle the overlays on, and then I'm going to click on tab, select the face of this cube on top, and then click on Shift S, cursor to selected. Now I'm going to click on Shift A, mesh, and then create a plane. You don't have to do that, but I'm just using this to test the light. I'm going to scale this up and then move this up slightly. I'm also going to create a light, so I'm going to click on Shift A, light, and then create an area light. Spotlight is going to work as well, but for this tutorial, I'm going to be using the area light. So create this. GZ, move it up, and then scale it up slightly. So make sure to go inside these settings to see the properties of the light. So this is the size, and you can adjust this the way you want. Now, in order to see what this light is doing, I'm going to go back to the rendered view, and then we have this light. But it's pretty hard to see because we have the HDR lighting entire scene. So I'm going to go to the world properties, and then temporarily turn this down to 0 so that we have no strength of the HDR. And now we can actually see what the lamp is doing. So go back to light settings, and very important thing you want to do with the area light is go to the spread, and then type 1. So that we turn this from 180 to 1. And now this is going to act more as a spotlight. Once we fix that, I'm going to click on the shape and then turn this from square into the disc so that we have a more rounded light, but it's optional to do. It's not going to affect the scene too much. What we also want to do is uncheck normalize, and this is going to make the light a lot brighter. If you're using older versions of Blender, it's not going to work because the button is not there, but you can uncheck normalize and make this very powerful. I'm also going to take the power, and for now, I'm going to half it. So I'm going to type 5. Because it's way too strong right now. And then this flat lighting is not going to work in our scene, so we're going to give it some texture. So in order to do that, I'm going to click on use nodes in the shader nodes, or you can also scroll down and then click on use nodes over here. And once you do that, we get this emission node and then light output. So what we want to do is first click on Shift A and then use the noise texture here as well, and then plug factor into the color. And now I'm going to press on Shift A and then create a color ramp. I'll plug the color ramp between these two. And now what we can do is first of all adjust the scale. So I'm going to turn down the scale slightly, and then we get something like this. And the cool thing you can do is take the color ramp and then increase the contrast. So if we take this, you can see how cool it looks. So at the end, the light is going to look very nice when we shine it through our water. So we can also play around with the detail. You can turn this up if you want to. You can also turn down the scale even more and then create something like this. You can also change the color of the light, but for this one, we don't really need to do that. So that's all we need to do for now, and we can adjust these settings later on. And a cool thing we can do is animate this. So if you want to animate the noise texture, you can click on 3D and then turn this to 4D. And now we're going to use this W value in order to make this animated. So what we can do is click here, and then instead of using keyframes, we can actually do cool things. So I'm going to click here and then type hashtag frame, and then click on divide or slash, and then type 1000. So 1000 should be enough because it's going to go slower. And if we play the animation, you can see how cool it looks. The light is moving around. If you want to make this a lot faster, you can click here and then decrease the number to something like 700. Now it's going to go a lot faster. So yeah, I like the way it looks for now. We can also click on the cube and then animate the water. So what I'm going to do now is click on the world and then bring back the lighting, set the strength to 1. And I'm going to delete this plane because we already use it for testing purposes. Click on the water. In order to move the waves, you can also use the noise texture here as well. So I'm going to click here, 3D, turn this to 4D, and then I'm going to click on W and then type hashtag frame, and then let's do slash 10,000. 10,000 should be enough. Now the water is moving around, but it's pretty hard to see. But yeah, we have some movement in the waves. Now, once I'm happy with how it looks, I'm going to turn the screen into a 3D view as well. So I want to stay inside like this. And I'm going to also click here and then turn this into 3D viewport. And I'm going to take the light and adjust it the way I want. So I can actually take this and move it down closer to the water, not all the way inside. And in order to see how it affects the scene, I can actually click on the HDR and turn this to 0 again. And as you can see, the light is having almost no effect, but you can see we have some slight gobos over here. So I'm going to go to the lights properties and then turn the power to something like 20 for now. And now I can also click on exposure, shift, left click, and then turn this up slightly. Because if you turn out the exposure too much, it's going to look really weird. By the way, you can download this exact scene file along with other assets directly on my Patreon. You can also get access to exclusive monthly courses which are not available on YouTube. It's the best way to speed up your workflow and get direct help from me. Link is in the description. And as you can see, we have some light shining through. You can rotate this if you want. You can move this around. As you can see, we get this pretty cool gobo effect. So you can place it wherever you want. Now, in order to see how the lighting affects the scene, we can actually import characters already. I think the exposure is way too much, so I'm going to turn this down slightly. And then let's import the character. So I'm going to be using the BPS Rig version 4. Again, you know the drill. The Squared Media link will be in the description if you want to download the BPS Rig version 4. And you can also watch this tutorial if you want to find out more about the rig. So I'm going to click on File, Append. I'm going to import this character right here. I'm going to rotate him, and I'm also going to move him up slightly. I'm also going to import a camera. So click on Shift A, create a camera. And if I like this view where I'm staying, I can click on Control Alt number pad 0. Now it's going to frame the camera to my view. I'm also going to go inside the camera view right here and then adjust the camera using Shift F. So by default it's Shift tilde, but I changed it from preferences to be Shift F. Now I can enter the fly view. I'm going to go to the focal length and then turn this down slightly, make it 45. Go down into the viewport display and then turn up the pass part 2 like so. We also need a second character for this animation. But before we import a second character, let's organize the scene slightly. So I'm going to click on this collection and then name this scene. And I'm going to drag the area, camera, and the cube here. I'm also going to click on the cube and then name this water. I'm going to create a second collection and then name this characters. And then drag the BPS Rig version 4 here. Now we have scene. And we have characters so that we can unhide and hide them pretty easily. I'm going to click on this characters collection and then import the second character. So this is going to act as the mysterious guy, aka Herobrine, who's going to be watching the character. And now the second character is going to be Mepcat, who's one of my long-time supporters and long-time patrons, who's the End Crystal patron here, helping me out in a big way. So in order to import the skin, I can click on the skin button. And also I'm going to scroll to the right side here, click on this arrow, and then turn this to texture. Once you do that, we can go inside the skin properties or the material properties over here. Make sure you have skin selected, and I'm going to click X and then import the skin you want. So this is Mapcat skin. I'm going to adjust the face slightly. So I'm going to click on N, go down to the iTeam properties, and then slightly increase the eye size like this. Maybe turn down the face. So maybe move the face location down. And I think that should look good. I'm also going to take the eyebrows and make it slightly darker and more purple, like so. I'm going to take the second skin, and then in order to make this look like Herobrine, it's pretty easy. I'm going to select the character's bones, click on Control Tab to go to pose mode, S, turn this down to 0. I'm going to select the eyes, S, 0. Now I'm going to select the material icon on top, go down to the eyes, and then make sure you have the glowing eyes. So I'm going to click on Emit Right, and then emit left, so that we have some lighting through eyes. If I click on the rendered view, you can see the eyes are going to shine. If I turn this to 0, the eyes aren't going to be shining. But if I turn this to 1, or you can also increase to something like 3, they're going to be shining. Now, the last thing we need to do before animation is add some lighting to the characters as well. So I'm going to add the lighting to Mapcat, but I'm not going to add any lighting to Herobrine to make him seem more mysterious. So I'm first going to point the lighting to Mapcat, make sure that we see him, rotate it towards the character. And I also want to add more details. So I'm going to go back here and then go to the shader editor and then increase the noise texture scale and then keep playing around with the settings until you're happy. Now, once you're happy with how this looks, if you want to copy these settings, you can take a screenshot over here. I'm going to go back to the 3D viewport. And now, once you're happy with how the lighting looks, you can also go back to the world properties and turn this back to 1 so that we have some lighting shining through. And now I'm going to click on Shift A and then create another light. So I'm going to click on Shift right click to bring the cursor here. Click on Shift A and let's create another area light. So light, area, and then rotate this towards the character. So RY, Control to snap it, G to move it back. Let's move it closer. And then we can leave most of these settings by default, but we can also turn up the power. So I'm going to uncheck normalize, make sure it's pretty powerful, and then turn up the power. So I want this light to only affect Mapcat and not the other characters or the environment around it. So I'm going to select this light, go to the object properties. Now go to shading, expand this, and expand light linking. Once you do that, make sure to click on new. And now I'm going to take this character, which is Mapcat, take him and then drag and drop him over here. Now, in order to stay organized, I'm going to click here and type Mapcat. And I'm also going to type Herobrine over here. Now, as you can see, if you uncheck this, the lighting is going to behave normally. But if you check this, the lighting is only going to affect Mapcat. So if I move it closer, you can see I can do that, which is pretty cool. Now, what you also want is throughout the animation, I want the light to follow the character, because if I take him, you can see it's not moving around. The lighting stays in one place. So it's pretty easy. I'm going to move the cursor over here. Shift A, click on empty, create a sphere, and then place it right around here, around the character. I'm also going to select slide, and then shift select this empty sphere, click on Control P, and then parent the object to the sphere. And then as you can see, if I rotate this, the light is going to follow. Now what we also want to do is keep the sphere selected, go to the object constraints right here, click on add object constraint, and now I'm going to click on copy location. Now I'm going to click on this eyedropper and then select this character, click right around here. And now we want to select the bone and then type in the flip bone or select the second one, which is right here. So now if you take the character and if I move him, the light is going to follow. But if I rotate him, the lighting is going to stay in front of him, which is pretty cool. I'm also going to take this light. And then if you want to see how it affects, again, go back and forth, and then turn down the HDRI to something like 0.2. I'm going to take this light, and I think it's going to look better if it's shining from the back. So right now it's shining from the front, but I'm going to take this and then move it back right around here. I'm going to rotate this and then move it back. As you can see, it looks a lot cooler. I'm also going to select the exposure and turn this up slightly, not too much. And then I'm going to also increase the size. So make sure you play around with how this looks. So now we have the characters ready, we have the lighting ready, the water looks good. And what we can do is start animating. And one more thing I do before I start animating is, since I want this to be a short animation, so like a YouTube short or TikTok or Instagram, I want to go to output and then change the resolution and flip it basically. So I'm going to click on the resolution, type 1080, tab, and then type 1920. So I would get this inverted aspect ratio, and now we can adjust the camera to your liking. Now this is not going to be an animation tutorial, so I'm quickly going to walk through what I did. I used my animation library to set up the characters, set up the motions. I also used the NLA editor to combine the animations. And if you want to get the animation library, the link will be in the description. As you can see, I'm quickly drag and dropping the animations and quickly setting them up. So I'm also animating root bone so that the character moves up and down and then goes forward. And it's a pretty easy process. And I'm just talking through what I did, because if I go step by step, this tutorial is going to be too long. So I think the animation is done. Now, before we move on to rendering, I'm going to show you what render settings I have, but feel free to adjust them to your liking. So I'm going to go to the render properties, As you can see, I'm using cycles. Then I'm going to expand the render properties and change the sampling from 4096 to something 150 because we don't need too many samples. Then I'm going to expand denoising. Make sure you check this. And I'm going to leave this at optic. Then I'm going to scroll down. Then make sure you expand light paths. Then open up caustics and make sure you turn on reflective and refractive. I think by default it should be turned on, but for most of my scenes I turn them off. Then I'm going to expand max bounces and then make sure you set the transparent and total to your liking. In this case, they are a bit too much. So what I'm going to do is set everything to 4. Set this to 4 as well. And then I'm going to take volume and then set this to 1 because I think it's way too much right now. And if I just set this to 1, you can see it looks a lot cooler and more mysterious. And after you finish this, make sure you scroll down and then play around with the color management. So in Blender 5.0, you have ACES 1.3 and 2.0. These are not available in all the versions. In the beginning of this tutorial, I had set this to standard, but I changed it to ACES 1.3 because I think it looks a lot cooler. So these are my render settings. Then I'm going to go to the output and make sure you set the output location. You can choose image or you can choose a video. In this case, I'm going to render the image sequences and then put them together in the video editor, edit them and add some sound effects. And then I'm going to start rendering. So I'm going to click on render, render animation, and I'm going to come back once the rendering is finished.